One pressure facing captains is to constantly reset your field placements, depending on who's batting, who's bowling, and a lot of other things to take into account. My co-host here perhaps knew more about this skill than anyone. So Mark, what are the things a captain needs to consider when changing or setting a field?
Well, Hill's always told you, mate, there was plenty of things to think about as a captain. It was a tough job, mate. But you've already touched on quite a few. Firstly, the bowler, what sort of bowler you've got, whether it's a fast man or a slow man. Secondly, who they're bowling to, whether it be a top order player or a lower bunny player. The third thing to think about is the pitch conditions, whether it's a flat pitch or whether there's something in it for the bowler. And probably the fourth thing is the state of play, the state of the game, and the tactics you want to use. When you talk about bowlers, obviously you're going to set a different field to someone like Brett Lee or your faster men in your team than you are to your slower men. With Brett Lee, you might want to have 3 or 4 slips when he first starts out. With your slow man, you might want to have a bat pad on both sides and a slip or two to put the pressure on the batsman. Sometimes though, when the bowler's starting to flag, you might want to have more defensive men and less catching men. With the batsman, once again, obviously you're going to set different fields to different types of batsmen. A top order player in good form, you might want to have a few more men saving singles and saving runs than in a catching position. But when you've got the bowlers, or the bunnies as I mentioned earlier, coming in, you might want to have more catching men and leave them more gap to try and hit runs through. When it comes to the pitch, the first day at the Gabba is always a good example. On a green pitch, when you've won the toss and bowled, you're going to have lots of catching men. And at the Adelaide Oval here, on a flat pitch on days 2 and 3, when it's good for batting, once again, less catching men.
Now, you quite often used me as to give you some advice. A wicketkeeper can be very important to the captain. Things the keeper can discover for their captain is how the pitch is carrying through. You can feel just how the bowler is getting the ball through to you, how much turn a pitch is taking. I've got time to go and talk to the bowlers in between overs and find out just how much energy and effort they've got left for their spells, so the captain might think about a replacement. I think also a wicketkeeper can keep an eye on little things the batsmen are doing and maybe pick a weakness or two that the batsmen are showing us today. So there's you need some buddies out there as a captain, don't you?
My word, and don't forget, it's not just the keeper, as you quite rightfully point to. It can be the person standing at mid-off. It's always very good to keep in touch with your bowlers to find out how they're going. Sometimes a bowler might tire after 3 or 4 overs. Sometimes if you've got a bowler like Glenn McGrath, who wants to keep the ball in his hand all the time, he want to bowl 8, 10 overs in a row. So sometimes you may have to make a decision to take him off before he's ready to come off. Don't forget also that you might change your tactics depending on the state of play. Once again, day 1 in the game, the sides are pretty even. Your tactics will be different to say on days 3 or 4 or 5 in a test match situation, or for your local game at home, day 2, when you're trying to go for a win. You may have to set more attacking fieldsmen to try and bring about a result in the game.
Well, aren't these captains just absolute geniuses? Don't they know their stuff?
Mate, as I said, mate, it's always tough, always plenty of things to think about. And one thing you can be sure of, though, as a captain, when you turn to your keeper or your vice-captain, when a side's none for 100, you'll get nothing from them. When the side's 7 for 100, you've got advice coming from everywhere, so don't forget that. And don't forget also some of the advice that our coaches have given you today. Hopefully, you've got something now to go home, work on over the next couple of years, and don't forget one of the key pieces of advice is to make sure that you're always not just enjoying your cricket, but you're enjoying your practice as well.
No one I've met has made it to the top by taking shortcuts. If you enjoy the commitment and the sacrifices that you have to make to get to the top, then the chances are you're going to be very successful. Enjoy your cricket, and maybe one day in 5, 10, 15 years' time, Mark and I are talking about you on television.
Good luck, enjoy your cricket.